Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Wanted to talk about the intent to file, what you can file it for, the different various benefits out there that you can actually utilize an intent to file for, how it works, what information you need to put into it. And let me start off with this. You do not need to know what disabilities you're filing for. If you're filing for disability compensation, you do not need to list them out. This is important to understand for people because as we're sharing this information, maybe with others, right? You come across a veteran and you say, hey, look, you need to file your claim, put in an intent to file first. If they don't understand what needs to go into it, they might hold off on doing it because they're not sure what they need to even put on it, and they don't look at the form until they're ready to do it. So these are all important things that we need to talk about and really make sure that people understand when it comes to the intent to file. So we're going to talk about a few different things. Before we jump into it, though, I want to throw out a very special thank you to Brian Cardoza. Brian Cardoza, 8698. Thank you so much for the super comment, super chat. I really do appreciate your support very much, Brian Cardoza. All right. So the intent to file, it's form 210966. Okay, that is the VA form. You can actually complete the form, or the two other kind of ways, and probably the easiest ways, is if you start a claim online at va.gov, just starting the process, that alone will trigger an intent to file just by starting it. Or you can call the VA directly and say, hey, I'm veteran so-and-so, and I'm looking to file an intent to file. Now, they will do that for you, and here's the thing. You as the veteran, if you're a veteran who's filing with an intent to file, they're going to ask you a question. They're going to ask you, is this for compensation or is this for pension? If you're filing for disability compensation, my bad neck, my bad knee, I got sleep apnea, whatever the situation is, you're filing for disability compensation. If you are low, no income, and you're filing for safety net program, VA, non-service connected pension, it's a safety net program from the VA, you can also file an intent to file for pension. So they're asking you which one you want. That's all they're asking. They're not going to ask you, what kind of conditions, and they're not getting into all the specifics. They just simply want to know what type of claim you're filing. Now, the phone number that you can call is it's 1-800-827-1000. 827-1000. So it's 800-827-1000. Now, I pulled up online here the page on the VA that talks about the intent to file as well. So the intent to file a claim for compensation and or pension or survivor's pension and or DIC. So what this is telling you is that you can file, you as the veteran or you as the surviving spouse can file an intent to file for any one of these types of benefits, whether it's compensation, meaning disability compensation for the veteran, or dependency indemnity compensation for the surviving spouse or parent or child, if applicable. Or for survivor's pension or veteran's pension. Again, the pension benefit is a low and no income sort of a safety net program. This isn't a pension video, but nonetheless, it's important to understand what sort of a benefit that is. So, for example, somebody who has a 10% rating and they're only receiving maybe a small amount of SSDI, maybe that Social Security disability insurance and the 10% VA rating really, well, let's be honest, it's not much money. So most likely that individual would be better off receiving VA pension versus VA compensation at 10% because it's so little. So in any case, let's read on through here to share with you what the VA has to say about the intent to file. Now, before we do, I'll just throw out there the things that a lot of people understand, right? The intent to file put into place buys you 12 months of time to develop your claim. It buys you the time to get out there and pull together all of your evidence so you can file, in my opinion, a fully developed claim. Now, as you're doing that and pulling all your information together, you should be working with an accredited representative out there and working with them to understand what sort of documentation you need to pull together. You need to be working with your doctors, all of that stuff to pull in everything so you can file the claim appropriately up front. Now, if you cannot find a capable and competent accredited veteran service officer or veteran service rep, we're here to help evidence-based VA claims. We created that company, Clay over the CivDiv and myself, in order to serve you. We have a ton of experience on our small but effective team, and it's small intentionally. Look, we want you to be able to do things yourself, but let's face it, there's a lot of situations that are very complex and you need representation at some level. And so we put together this team of highly competent individuals to help serve you. We have on the team people that worked at the VA as raters. We had accredited representatives formerly. So there's a solid, rounded team with a lot of information and a lot of resources for you. Now, if you have problems getting medical evidence, well, then you need to work with AME, American Medical Experts. They will provide you with the medical evidence that you need, whether it's a diagnosis, a DBQ, Disability Benefits Questionnaire, a Nexus Letter, or what have you. So anyway, your intent to file is absolutely there for you to be able to work for that time period to pull all the information you need together so you can file that claim and potentially get back paid to the intent to file date. There are variances. The VA is very nuanced. In some cases, it might not go back. In other cases, it will. So let's read on through this and see what the VA has to say and see if we can shed a little light on things. So it says here, use this form if you plan to file a disability or pension claim. If you notify us, the VA, of your intent to file and we approve your claim, you may be able to get retroactive payments. Retroactive payments are payments for the time between when we processed your intent to file and when we approved your claim. An intent to file sets a potential start date or effective date for your benefits. Very important. And in my opinion, it takes the weight off your shoulders so you could focus on the task at hand, which is really getting the information that you need, right? So let's move on. There's a few things here. What to know before you fill out this form. After you submit your intent to file, you have 1 year to complete and file your claim. After 1 year, the potential effective date for your benefits will expire. So you have 1 year. After that 1 year, if you do not file your claim within that 1 year period, that intent to file goes away. You're not penalized in any other way other than losing out on that potential earlier effective date. So what does that mean? That means that even if you're not sure if you're going to file a claim, you should probably just put in an intent to file if you think that there is a small chance, because it's better to have it in place and not use it than the opposite. The other bullet point here is, in some cases, it may take us a few days to process your intent to file after you submit it. We'll let you know what your potential effective date is after we process your intent to file. All right, so that's the other thing. No matter how you submit your intent to file, whether it is you mailing in the form, you working with an accredited representative who submits it for you, you initiate a claim online, or you call and tell the VA that you want to put in an intent to file. My suggestion is, in about a week, reach back out to the VA and ensure that they received your intent to file. There's no other way. You have to make sure. Otherwise, wouldn't that be horrible, right? Small chance, but chance nonetheless. All right. What to know if you're signing on behalf of someone else, okay? The VA, so the VA will need to have one of these forms showing that you're an authorized person to sign for the person filing the claim. So there's different forms here. alternate signer certification, appointment of a veteran service organization as a claimant representative. That would be the form that you would sign with an accredited veteran service representative or veteran service officer. Sometimes they call that a power of attorney. It's not really a power of attorney in that big broad sense, but it is the appointment of that veteran service organization to basically access and represent you with the VA. You can only have one. So for example, if you started working with DAV and they had you complete this appointment of veteran service organization with DAV, and DAV now has access to your VA stuff and they're representing you, but you feel like you're not getting anywhere with that specific, look, DAV is great, but it's a people business and maybe that specific person isn't quite doing what you need them to do. It happens. And you decide that you want to move over and you find a county representative, we'll say. So you go to a county accredited representative. You are now going to need to sign a new appointment of veteran service organization, appointing that county representative. And now the DAV loses their access. So you can't go back to the DAV person and say, hey, can you check the status? They no longer have access. Now it's going to be the county representative. Now, if you have a problem with your county person, and let's say, whatever, it's still not working out, so now you come over to us at Evidence-Based VA Claims. We are not accredited. We would not have you sign any appointment of any sort of organization. So the county representative would continue to have the authority to submit and look and talk to the VA on your behalf. So what you could do is you could leverage both worlds in that situation, right? Work with us, have the conversation with your accredited rep. They could peek in the system on your behalf and so forth. All right, the last form is if you have a appointment of an individual as a claimant representative, which is another one. If you've already submitted one of these forms, you don't need to do anything else. If you haven't submitted one of these forms, submit one of these forms before you submit an intent to file is what they suggest. So claims you can file after filing or filling out this form. So what can you file after an intent to file? That's the question. All right. Well, after you complete this form, we'll direct you to one or more of these benefit applications for you to complete. So it's going to say, do you want to file a disability compensation claim? For most people, this is going to be it. This is what you're looking to do. You're looking to file VA disability compensation. It says, note, if you start your disability claim online, you don't need to fill out this intent to file form. Because I said at the beginning, if you start the claims process online, it'll automatically trigger an intent to file. All right. When you start your disability application or supplemental claim online, it notifies the VA automatically of your intent to file because you're taking action. Now, the other sort of claims you can file would be a pension claim. And again, this can be for surviving spouse or as the veteran. So either one of those. The other is your dependency indemnity compensation, right? So which would be your other one. And so with that, just wanted to roll it out there to you and let you know a few of the things with the intent to file beyond the, hey, look, it's good for 1 year. The big thing I think is that don't hold off on it because you're not sure what you're going to file. As long as you know that you're planning to file a compensation claim or a pension claim, that's all you need to know. Get that intent to file in, and that buys you a year's worth of time to work on developing your claim. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you very much. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.